this data is correct. The problem is getting bigger and bigger, not smaller and smaller. It is growing. These stats are absolutely correct. And these stats reflect everywhere in the world. Brazil is unique in that it has a highly concentrated area of very vulnerable children, which we've discussed in the Amazon. Now, as it relates to drugs, it's really interesting because we've been fighting drugs, all of us, for so long, but the same organizations and same routes are being used. But what the traffickers, what the drug traffickers are learning, this is scary. They're learning that the smuggling and trafficking of children can be more lucrative than drugs. And that seems to be trending in that way. Why? Because you can sell a bag of cocaine only one time. If you kidnap a child and take that child across the border and sell that child, you can sell that child 10 to 20 times a day for 10 years. The traffickers are realizing that trafficking of children and women can be more lucrative than even drugs, and the stats are showing that. And a lot of this, you mentioned the border regions with Uruguay, with Paraguay. We have to focus there. And we had a tragedy in our country. Between the years 2020 and 2024, we opened our borders. It was done for political reasons, because the administration at the time knew that if they let 40 million illegal, undocumented migrants in, that they think they would vote for them, right? But they knew the cost of that. By opening up the borders, you're opening up the drug and the child trafficking routes. And that's what happened. And we have documented close to 400,000 children who came through the United States border and are now lost in the belly of the United States. The United States is the #1 country for child sex in the world. We have the largest demand for consumption and often production of child rape material, videos. And so the United States is the last place you want to be lost as a child. Now what I'm noticing in Brazil and other countries I'm going in Latin America, their missing children rate is keep going higher and higher and higher. And they say, where are our kids? I said, I don't know where your kids are. They're in my country. Because during those 4 years, they were kidnapping children so they can deliver them to the pedophiles that are the gringo pedophiles in North America. As government agents, we used to have to go out into other countries and find them. And we had laws in the United States, we have laws, that allow us to hold American sex tourists accountable for committing sex acts against children as if they committed it in our own country. They don't have to do that anymore because between 2020 and 2024, the Department of Health and Human Services, which was in charge of children, became, what I'm going to say is not hyperbole, the Department of the United States Health and Human Services became a child trafficking delivery service. Taxpayer dollars. Anybody could come down and say, that child's mine, and they got the child. No question, very few questions, no background checks. At that time, it was harder to adopt a cat from a shelter than it was to claim sponsorship of a child and get that child. Those are your children. Those are Paraguayan children, those are Uruguayan children, those are Mexican children, those are children from Central America. So we can see how borders play a significant role in this. We have to secure the borders. People say securing borders is inhumane. No, it's the only humane thing. If a child's being kidnapped and the child's being brought across the border into Brazil or into Argentina, we have cases on the border here, Argentina and Brazil. And that child's brought from Mexico to the United States. That child's thinking, my last hope, my last hope, my last hope is that when I get to that border and I see that Brazilian flag or that American flag, somebody will be there to find me. You saw the child inside of freedom. That's how that child was rescued. But when we don't have border enforcement, the child loses all hope. Because that child will reach out and say, help me. You rescue them at the border. That's the plan. That's why we have borders, to rescue children. So it's the opposite of what people say. The most humane thing for children is to secure our borders. It's the final trap for the bad guys, the final net to catch the child. So we have to enforce our borders. I just came from Dominican Republic where we're doing the same thing on that very dangerous border with Haiti. Same problem. We're going to enforce that border to rescue the children, so they can no longer, the traffickers can no longer use drug trafficking routes to traffic children.